We begin with something a bit different. Could you imagine being a New York district attorney being pulled over by a cop during a routine traffic stop, but then you go all mad, you call the police chief, you go into your house, and you don't listen to an officer? You cuss him out with all these profane words? The woman you're about to meet is a New York district attorney. And the video you're about to see is her arguing with the officer, not doing what she was told. Take a look and judge for yourself.
There is outrage today over the actions of a district attorney who refused to stop when a cop pulled her over for speeding. Instead, she drove home and sounded incredulous that she was even being questioned.
Sorry, I'm the DA. I was going 55 coming home from work.
55 and a 35.
I don't really care.
District Attorney Sandra Dorley of Monroe County, New York, gets the police chief on the phone to try and intervene on her behalf as her nasty tone continues.
I'm telling you why I stopped you. You didn't stop at all. Did you not hear my lights or sirens or anything?
No, I didn't actually. I was on the phone.
Why are you so upset at me? I'm doing my job.
The officer sure sounds patient.
Can you stay over here, ma'am? This is a traffic. This is a legal.
She passes the phone with the chief on it to the officer.
Ma'am, this is legal traffic stop. Can you please stay over here?
She's had enough and goes inside her house.
I understand the law better than you. Get out of my
Can you please go to the back of the vehicle?
I'm not going to.
She curses at him.
How am I being it?
Pretty soon, reinforcement arrives. Today, DA Dorley is apologizing.
What I did was wrong, no excuses. I take full responsibility for my actions.
In her recorded statement, she blames her behavior on a tough workday and her husband's health issues.
I've been humbled by my own stupidity, and I'm fully to blame. I will make this right. I ask for your forgiveness.
We showed the video to former LA Police Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey.
She was over the top with the way she treated the officers so poorly, so unprofessionally.
I am the DA.
Just because you're the district attorney does not give you the right to break speed limits. Everybody, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a prosecutor, an attorney, an officer, you have to obey the law like us ordinary citizens. Which brings us to our common sense alert. We as human beings must obey the law and not go above it. I mean, musicians follow the law. Us human beings, we have to abide by federal law and state law. Just because your attorney does not give you the right to say, "Hey, just cut me some slack, okay? I'm a district attorney. Can you please cut me some slack?" You can't be doing that. You gotta go through a routine traffic stop. You're not Justin Bieber. You're not a famous celebrity. You're not Matt Damon. You're not Elizabeth Banks or Rachel Harris or Kirsten Dunst. You are a district attorney. And they have to abide by the law. What are you going to do? Prosecute yourself and say, "I'm going to sentence myself to jail"? You need to listen and do what you're told. Just because, listen, we've all had bad days. Every one of us has bad days, but that doesn't mean we're not going to break the law and listen to the police officer, not listen to the police officer. We need to abide by the traffic stops. Put your hands on 10 and 2. They ask you, "Hey, you know I pulled you over because you were going 60 and 35. License registration. Pull out your license registration and then give them the ticket." Why would you even put the police chief on the phone? What you should have done was done what the officers told you to do. Done what the officer told you to do. Because in life, when you're a kid, the most important lessons ever is that when your parents tell you to do something, you do it. And when you're at school, when the teacher tells you to do something, you do it. There is no talk, there is no back chatting. "No, I won't. I will not listen to you. I will not do the dishes." That's talking back. And when you talk back to the officer, no, officer, I will not give you my license. I will not give you my registration. You can go screw off. Do not talk back to an officer of the law. And same with teachers. No, I won't. I won't do this assignment. I will not listen to you. I will not sit down. I'm exercising my right to protest. That's talking back to an employee of the school. When you're being told, the bottom line is this, when you're being told to do something, do it. You don't sit there and talk back because you're queen or you're district attorney. You don't have to go full blown out Karen. If you come on camera a day later and say, hey, I'm sorry, sorry does not fix the fact. And you want to say, I'm sorry about what I did. I wonder why I can make this right. It's too late for the sorries. What you should have told yourself was you should have listened to what you should have said to yourself was this: hey, I made a bit. I should have listened to the officer, done what I was told, got back in my car, and gotten to the routine traffic stop. Just because I've had a bad day does not mean I got to take it out on an officer of the law. It doesn't mean I have to take it out on an officer of the law. I still got to listen. Later on, we're going to show you the full body cam video of that incident. And also, Gavin DeBaker is back talking more about the gift of fear, and especially community relationships and violence. Next, IVFs, in vitro fertilization. How does it work? Catherine Cryer is going to explain with some hidden cameras. Stay with us. In vitro fertilization, or test tube babies as they're called, if you haven't never heard about all these things, the test tube babies were the things of the past. Remember 15 years ago, the first miracle birth? Well, now people are claiming that it can raise higher chances of birth. But in fact, what you're about to hear from the experts could mean the difference between handicapped children and an even worse death. Here's Catherine Cryer.
For the past 19 years, Sally Pappas has worked with young children.
We're going to weigh her and take her measurements, and then you'll be able to see the doctor after we look at her chart, okay?
Sally is a registered nurse in Long Beach, California for the Public Health Department, where each day she sees dozens of children from newborns to teenagers. She considers many of these youngsters her kids, making certain that they remain healthy. When Sally and her husband George decided to start their own family, they were devastated to find they suffered from infertility. So they turned to what they considered their only hope: in vitro fertilization, IVF, where the male sperm and the female eggs are scientifically combined outside the womb. What Sally and George didn't realize was how emotionally and financially draining it would be.
Money, the emotional aspect, the time involved, time off work, the medications, the side effects, the feeling of the medication. But we were very willing to do that. If they had asked us to hang upside down from a tree, we would have been delighted, because our focus is a family.
There were daily injections of potent drugs, countless blood tests, and invasive surgery, and finally waiting to find out if Sally was pregnant.
And after that 30-second phone call, it's over. And, it's very
The feeling
upsetting.
is very, very lonely. You feel anger, you feel despair.
After 5 attempts at a local clinic in 6 years, they finally gave up. George recalled what happened after the final try.
Our money was exhausted. We mentally didn't want to go through it anymore. We sat down and talked to each other and said, this is it. We just cannot do this. And it hurt too much.
We lost our dream of having a family, our dream of having a baby.
Those who dream of having a child and need the help of high-tech science have turned this industry into a booming business. More than 2 million Americans suffer from some form of infertility, and there are nearly 300 clinics in the U.S. offering in vitro fertilization and other techniques. A 2020 investigation has found that some clinics are vastly overstating how many of their patients actually take home a child. There's little disclosure about how dangerous the drugs used in these treatments can be, and there's virtually no government regulation of this industry. Dr. Marsden Wagner of the World Health Organization is a leading expert on infertility.
I think there is no doubt that there are places in the United States where consumers are being lied to about success rates, they're being lied to about risks, and that the consumer is indeed not protected.
Here's how in vitro fertilization works. In the most standard procedure, the woman is given drugs to create many eggs. These eggs are taken from the woman and put together with the man's sperm in a petri dish. After 2 days, the fertilized eggs are transferred back into the woman. Each procedure costs as much as $10,000, and most couples try several times. To find out what really goes on in this industry, we took our hidden cameras to investigate IVF America, one of the largest chains in the country with clinics in 5 states. Keep in mind there are small clinics and even individual doctors who perform IVF. At IVF America, they use seminars like this one in New York City to attract new patients. Listen to the executive director of one clinic describe IVF America's success rate.
So if you want to take 30 as just a round figure, you'll risk about 5% in terms of the baby. But once you became pregnant through IVF, even if it miscarried, costly as it is, we don't know, but we're more confident that you're going to get pregnant the next time because something is right with you with IVF. You're a match,
But there is a 1 in 4 success rate with IVF America.
Yes.
1 in 4?
Yes.
1 in 4, 25%. According to most experts, the usual rate in the industry is only 1 in 10 couples who walk in for a child will actually walk out with one. But there's more hard sell at the IVF America seminars about the rates of success. These graphs maintain that if you go in the program and go through 4 to 6 treatments, costing roughly $40,000 to $60,000, your cumulative chances of getting pregnant are as high as 80%.
If you try more than one cycle, then the success rate increase in both the groups, so that with 4 to 6 cycles, they're somewhere between 60 to 80%.
What IVF America doesn't say is that many experts tell patients to stop after 3 tries because the rate of success goes way down, not up. But it's not the first time the company's had problems with its facts. Just 3 years ago, the Federal Trade Commission cited IVF America for providing misleading information to its patients.
There are a lot of responsible physicians working in responsible programs who are not exaggerating or giving hype. But there is a very significant group out there who are.
Mount Sinai in New York City is one of the most well-known hospitals in the world. In this brochure about its IVF program, the hospital boasted its success rate was among the highest in the country, about 20%. And that's why Glenn and Margaret von Nostitz went through the program twice.
In the waiting area, there's this bulletin board with all these baby pictures and birth announcements. And you think, well, thank you notes. Oh, I could be one of those. And of course, it does work for some people. But what I'm just concerned about is that, it apparently wasn't 20 to 25%.
When you really want to have a baby and you want to have it together, and you think this is it, it's just, you have so much hope pinned on it.
What the couple didn't know was that Mount Sinai had significantly inflated its rate of success. In fact, it was only 10%. The hospital was recently cited by New York City for false advertising. Today, the couple feels cheated.
I mean, now that I hear that my chances were actually much smaller, I feel incredibly deceived.
Mount Sinai declined a 2020 request for an interview. In a statement, the hospital said it's conducted a thorough review of its program and regrets any inaccurate information was distributed. These are the drugs used in many IVF programs to help stimulate the production of eggs. They're strong medicine. Some women face health risks like massive enlargement of the ovaries and cysts. IVF children can have low birth weights and even physical handicaps.
Almost all women who have in vitro fertilization are given massive doses of hormones to stimulate making a whole lot of eggs. Now, these hormones were approved by the FDA in usual doses. But you see, in the United States, if a drug is once approved, a licensed doctor can use it in any dose he wants.
In fact, a recent study has found that women who took fertility drugs and did not become pregnant are 27 times more likely to contract ovarian cancer. Dr. Zev Rosenwax is a leading practitioner of IVF in the United States.
No matter what we do, there are potential unknown side effects, and we have to weigh risk versus benefit.
There was a recent study that the use of fertility drugs significantly raises the likelihood of ovarian cancer.
It could be as low as twice the risk and as high as much higher. The average risk there is stated to be 27. I'm not trying to say that there may not be any risk, and I do believe that further studies need to be performed, but I do not believe that there is conclusive evidence based on this single study that indeed that we can determine the relative risk.
When we went to the IVF America seminars, we were told there was no significant risks associated with these drugs to the woman or the child.
We're not aware of any long-term effects.
At another seminar, we got the same answer, no significant risks at all.
Are there any long-term effects of the drug?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Once you stop taking them, they're basically out of your system.
Although the cancer study had not been released publicly when these seminars occurred, experts say it should have been known within the industry that there were such risks. Dr. Wagner points out that even if there is a pregnancy, the couple may face risks they hadn't expected.
There is, for example, 4 times more babies who die around the time of birth if they're an IVF baby than if they're a baby conceived the usual way. So there are high risks for death around the time of birth. There's much higher risk of spontaneous abortion early in pregnancy. And there is also a higher risk that these babies will have some kind of a handicap, a permanent neurological handicap.
We took our videotapes to IVF America and its medical director, Patricia McShane, for an explanation. Remember the success rate of 25%?
Someone asked the question and was told there was a 25% chance of walking out with a live baby.
Right. This is a reporter asking the executive director, a non-clinical person in the program, at the end of a public seminar, I imagine, for that figure out of context.
And the doctors and nurses here at the seminar that tell me, I got a 25% shot at that baby I want so desperately. And those numbers are not accurate, at least without further explanation.
That I agree with, it's not.
And the drugs, which IVF America said were not dangerous.
As you sit here today, are you able to assure couples, assure women and their babies that there will not be long-term effects, that there are no long-term effects in this procedure?
I'm a very conservative person.
So we showed the videotape of what the head nurse had said about the long-range effects of the drugs.
So there is no long-range effect on it.
You just told me that there are long-range effects, that there are things that need to be described to patients, there are concerns that you as a physician would have, and there it is, there are no long-range effects from these drugs.
Are we talking about something happening 10 years or 20 years from now? Or are we talking about something that happens when I'm actually taking the drug, or something that might happen a week later?
Is the truth, doctor, that you just don't know?
I think that's a fair statement.
In a separate 6-page letter sent to 2020 after the interview, Dr. McShane insisted that all prospective patients are fully informed about possible risks and outcomes through consultations and additional informational materials before they make a final informed decision about treatment. Many people turn to local doctors like Hector Arnazi, who are virtually unregulated when they practice IVF. He runs a small clinic in Torrance, California. Arnazi is accused of malpractice in dealing with some of his IVF patients, a charge he denies. Doug and Susan Fife went to him, and on the first try, the doctor told the couple the procedure was successful.
We were very thrilled. We made plans, we discussed names, we called family members.
Then they were told that Susan had suffered a miscarriage. So they tried again. They got the same story 4 times.
He told me that I had lost my baby. I'm crying, my husband's crying. And he did make the statement, I'm not God. I'm sorry that you've lost your child.
Dr. Arnazi declined our request for an interview.
No comment.
Experts retained by the Fifes have reviewed Arnazi's work, and they insist it is unlikely there ever was a pregnancy. The California State Medical Board is investigating charges against him.
I think that it's essential that there's regulation on infertility treatment. Doctors cannot go forward exploiting women's emotions and their bodies for financial gain.
Nobody's out there monitoring them. Nobody's out there shutting them down. There is no quality assurance in this field in the United States.
For those who have been helped by IVF, there is the knowledge that without such a program, they would not have their own biological children. And there are now more than 19,000 children born in the U.S. as a result of these programs.
The focus is on all of these successes. Let's talk about the failure rate. All the people who come to you are going to go home without a baby and with nothing left in the bank, and with horrible memories of all kinds of extremely difficult and painful procedures behind them.
Well, first, Catherine, I'd like to welcome you, Catherine Pryor, our newest correspondent. We're very glad you're with us.
Thank you very much.
Now then, in vitro fertilization has a very small success rate. You don't know what the long-term effects are, you say, but there will still be people who want to do this. What should they know?
Of course, they work with licensed physicians, but what they need to understand is the IVF industry as a whole is not regulated. There's been some federal legislation to monitor the success rates, to begin to have a standard for that, to monitor some of the laboratory work, but there are no penalties for clinics that don't play by the rules, so they need to do independent research.
So you have to talk to your doctors, perhaps talk to hospitals. It really is up to you.
Yes, there are some societies that have been organized. The American Fertility Society is one, but it's all voluntary right now. The clinics that choose to report, and statistically, it's a little unsound right now. So it really is buyer beware.
Well, thank you for bringing us this information.
Buyer beware. Like what Jason Aldean said. Do your homework. Don't just go in there and start returning to him and be like, oh, we gotta try again. Oh, we gotta try again. Oh, we gotta try again. But then all of a sudden, you just waste your money. Read the pamphlets. Read the pamphlets. Talk to your doctor. Talk to the hospital. Listen. Look and see. Look at those pamphlets. If that's not what you think while watching this report, I don't know what to tell you. But if you have already had these IVFs and you think it's a success rate, I really want to hear your story. It'd really be a first for somebody if they told their story all about in vitro fertilization. But, again, we'll let you know what happens. Still to come, the full body cam video all about that New York District Attorney. Next, Gavin Becker is back with the gift of fear. Could you say this to somebody that you really want to go out with? Stay with us. About a few weeks ago, we told you about Gavin Becker, who has written a book called The Gift of Fear, understanding all about violence and safety. Now it's going to be all about long-term relationships. You probably want an affection, but as women, you probably think that the best way to handle them is to be nice. But hearing more about The Gift of Fear could really help you out with dating and safety. Here's Cynthia McFadden.
Michelle killed 13 women. Killing one of his co-workers and wounding 2 others. He announced he would kill everyone and started firing. A man comes to work and shoots 15 co-workers. And what does every news reporter say? He just cracked and went berserk. He snapped. I am here to tell you that never, ever has happened. That is a process coming to that kind of violence that is as detectable as water coming to a boil.
But only if you know what to look for, and nobody involved in what became mass murder here in Sunnyvale, California, apparently did. The year was 1988.
Police say a former employee entered a computer company in Silicon Valley late this afternoon and opened fire with a rifle. Tried to get out.
He ran out the lobby.
Were you hearing gunshots?
Yeah.
An unknown number of people were trapped inside after the shooting started.
Any idea who was in the shooting?
Well, one of them disgruntled employees over here. And they were sure just broke on.
His name is Richard Farley, fired 2 years earlier for stalking a woman he barely knew, co-worker Laura Black. You see her here taking cover behind the bushes, her clothes soaked with blood from a shotgun blast to her shoulder. 9 years later, she remembers the man who spent 4 years pursuing her, and that final day of terror.
I was working intensely in my office with the door closed at the time, that he entered the building and he began shooting everyone in his path, going into offices. He went upstairs and he killed several people that I worked with. And then he threw open my door, he shot at me twice. I said, "No, Rich, no," while he was reloading, and then he just went away.
Later he said he didn't want to kill her, he just wanted to send her a message. Richard Farley murdered 7 people that day and wounded 4 others. He is now on death row in San Quentin.
The Farley case is the ultimate example of a predictable attack.
Gavin McBacklin makes his living predicting violent behavior.
She described the fear to me.
He says a computer program he's developed would have warned both Black and her employer that Farley would turn to violence.
He refuses to accept rejection. He has an expectation for a relationship that's going to go on forever and acts like she's the only one. He resolves conflict through intimidation. His identity was dependent upon this perceived relationship with Laura Black.
But that relationship was a product of Richard Farley's imagination. You never had a date with him.
No.
You never kissed him.
Never came near him.
Never made him any kind of promises.
Never. I tried, really to ignore him, but to be cordial.
Being cordial, according to Rebecca, is a big mistake.
Right now, women in this culture are not allowed to say no. You have to let him down easy. You have to be nice when you're rejecting. Letting down easy is at the center of so many stalking cases because the woman doesn't explicitly reject.
He forced you to have a relationship with him, in one sense. That's absolutely right. And in his mind, we were having a relationship. He would set up catch-22 situations like, call me if you don't want to go on a date. Otherwise, I'll be at your house at 7:30. Now, I never called him. I never once called him, ever. But, nonetheless, he showed up. He had a very large suburban-type vehicle and was ever present. If I looked out my blinds at home, I would see him driving by. If I looked in my rearview mirror, I would see.
After a year of harassment, Laura Black begged her bosses for help, but they didn't know what to do either. Every rule they'd set down, Farley would break. Finally, 2 years after the stalking started, the company fired him. But the stalking continued.
I wasn't going to be pushed around by this person. I was cautious. But, if I had to confront him and stand out a gun, I was ready to do that.
Most important thing is don't engage him. Don't engage in a war. Because when people want to be your boyfriend or your husband, and then that doesn't happen, they'll tend to settle for friend. And when that doesn't happen, they will settle for enemy.
which is just what Richard Farley did. He settled for enemy.
Looking backward, is there anything you could have done differently, do you think? There's many, many, many things that I could have done, and that the company could have done. One thing they would have done is realized early on that the situation was extraordinarily serious. They probably would have terminated him immediately. No questions asked.
In addition, Laura Black now says she would have trusted her own instincts, and in the days preceding the attack, she would not have gotten a temporary restraining order.
That was ultimately, at least in my opinion, what triggered him.
The TRO, the temporary restraining order, the court order which is meant to control someone's conduct, is not always the best step. While they work often, about 2/3 of the time, they don't work often, about 1/3 of the time. What does that mean? We need to be able to tell the difference between those cases where it's called for and those cases where it isn't called for.
Today, Laura Black is a successful investment banker. She's helped pass anti-stalking legislation in California and says women must learn to say no.
No is a complete sentence. No. I'm not interested. But saying that to somebody that has been raised to be kind and sweet and considerate, and that's very difficult to lose. I mean, it's almost innate.
Very few cases, of course, escalate the way Laura Black's did. But it is estimated that 500,000 women a year deal with unwanted pursuers. Rebecca says learning to say no at the start can sometimes avert trouble later.
Let's say we went out, and now you would say to me, you know, Gavin, I think you're cute, and I think you're a nice guy, and you're real funny, but my head's not in the right place right now, and I'm not ready for a relationship yet. As a man, I hear the words right now and yet, which means, hey, she thinks I'm cute, she thinks I'm funny, she's not in the right place yet, so if I just hang in there, she will be. Here's a real explicit rejection. I have decided that I don't want to have a relationship with you, and I am certain I will not change my mind. And having come to this conclusion, I hope you'll pursue other avenues, because that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, who could actually say that?
I hope more and more people will, because the fact is that very few men in this country have ever heard that rejection.
So give me some strategies. You've said no. You've said it clearly. What do you do?
When you have explicitly rejected someone clearly one time, it is my recommendation that if you don't want them in your life, that starts right then, and you never speak to them again. That's it.
Well, that seems a little extreme.
Well, it depends on what the problem is. It's a little extreme to have somebody call you 30 times when you've asked them not to. It's a little extreme to have someone show up at your work or ask your friends what you're doing all the time. It's a little extreme to cause someone fear. Let me tell you how a man rejects. You call me, I'm not interested, I don't call back. And you don't call me 40 times. A man will call you 40 times and call over and over again, because you're not allowed to choose who's in your life. I'm allowed to, I just don't call back.
And after he's called me 30 times,
and then you call him back, what you've taught him is that the cost of getting a call back is 30 calls. And he'll do that, no problem.
while most women will never be stalked, women are frequently approached by strangers. Gavin DeBecker says once you know them, the ploys used by someone looking for trouble are easy to spot.
I remember one case where a man gets into a woman's apartment, he's helping her with groceries, and he says, hey, I'll just put these on the counter and then I'll leave, because he sees that she's reluctant to open the door and let him in. And he says, oh, it's okay, you can leave the door open like women do in old movies. And he says, you know, I'm late anyway, I've got to go, not my fault, my watch is broken. All that is called too many details. He is using details as a way to distract her from the context, which is, I'm a stranger asking to come into your apartment. He becomes someone that she feels like she knows. Another one is called forced teaming, which is when a man makes a woman feel as if they're sharing some circumstance. Gee, boy, we're some team, aren't we? Or, hey, we've got a hungry cat upstairs, because he sees that she's carrying cat food upstairs. Well, we don't have a hungry cat upstairs. He does that because if he can convince you that the two of you share something in common, it's much harder for you to rebuff him then. There's a strategy some men use called typecasting, which is they give a woman a little insult, which she can easily repair. I'll give you an example. Say, hey, you're probably too ritzy a girl to take a ride in my car. And to prove that she isn't that bad thing, she does it. As some people say, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be seen as being rude. And they think, gee, you're not allowed to do that. I want to communicate to women you're allowed to do that. You cannot turn a good, decent man who offers you help into a murderer by turning him down. But you can invite a murderer or a criminal into your life by accepting his offer of help.
Part of the problem, says Lebecker, is cultural. In this country, men particularly are taught that persistence is part of courtship. He's supposed to keep asking, even after she's repeatedly said no. A stalker believes such persistence will pay off, and he'll get the girl, just like in the movie.
But it ain't like in the movies. No means no. It's common sense. No means no. No means no, Bill Cosby. But stalking is wrong. It can get you being arrested. I mean, we talked about celebrity stalkers who just don't get the message that no means no. No means get out of my house. No means you get your fat ass out. One, bad. The thing you have to understand is that no means no. I mean, this ain't like the movies. This is real life. This isn't those stalking movies. I mean, let's look at an example. You remember Violet First? William Wu? He lost it because of a video that was posted about him in the school. Let's take a look at a portion of the video. Because all of these... Here's a portion of this video. It's a 10-minute video. Let's take a look.
Freaking stupidest human being. You are so stupid. I cannot believe this. Look at this. He even has stalking in the tags.
Oh my gosh.
He's seriously an idiot.
You know,
Sorry everyone, but I might have to take this video down because William is angry. I'm waiting for a response now. You need to take the video down. If I'm angry, why would you keep the video up? You're such an idiot.
You know, I told him you felt invaded because your school is a private setting.
You realize I could get him in trouble for this.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I never told him you were angry at this point. I told him to remove his comments identifying personal information that maybe he would be able to keep it up. But now that he wrote that comment on there...
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. What idiot stalks somebody, follows them around, and freaking following me around in my school. In my school. Following me around. Recording me. I watched the video. He just follows me to another class.
Yeah, and I told him, I said that's basically stalking. He said, no, I wasn't stalking him. I just happened to be in the hallway. But his tags clearly say he's stalking. I mean, he put that in the tags.
Oh my God, this guy is an idiot.
Did you see the comments?
I'm freaking done with this crap.
People say...
I'm done with this.
Yeah, and he doesn't even
realize somebody saying meow, what?
He put meow in the tags, whatever that means. And does he realize the long-term consequences? Did you see the one comment on there?
What one comment? There's a lot of comments.
Oh, you're going to... He said... The one guy, when he drew attention to everybody by saying, well, I might have to take this down. And somebody said, well, it don't matter, because if you take it down, I'm recording it and putting it up.
Oh,
so
my God.
Basically, he just released this video permanently into the World Wide Web.
You know, that guy saying that I'll repost it, it might be on his side, but he could actually get him in trouble for posting that again. Because I could just go right to the principals and they'll get him in trouble.
Basically, that's that. You can't be filming on school property, period. Nobody should be filming on school property. But what does this guy do with stalking? It's got everything to do with stalking. He was stalked. I mean, if I imagine like going on doing with a little hidden camera around his house, I would be accused of stalking and trespassing if the parent were to press charges on me. It's as simple. According to Kevin Becker, that's stalking. I mean, a committed relationship, no means no. I don't want to go talk to you. The thing I understand here is stalking is wrong. And if you do so, you can be arrested and charged for trespassing and stalking. That can lead to some serious jail time. And even then, you'll know, you'll start to realize that no means no. We'll be right back with the full video of the NYDA. Stay with us. Earlier in this broadcast, we showed you a portion of a body cam footage about about a New York district attorney who cursed out a police officer. But what you have not seen was the full video. Tonight, you'll get to see that full video, and you can judge for yourself whether she should be fired or resign. Take a look.
All day, 3 murders in the city. And do you think I really care if I was going 20 miles over the speed limit? I'm the DA. I was going 55 coming home from work.
55 and a 35.
I don't really care.
Okay.
So you can call Dennis.
Can you please come over here? This is on a traffic stop, ma'am.
Yes, it is. You can call Dennis Kohlmeyer right now.
Okay, I'm telling you why I stopped you. You didn't stop at all. Did you not hear my lights or sirens or anything?
No, I didn't actually. I was on the phone.
Okay, well, you're not supposed to be on the phone while you're driving either.
Yes, I am with the hands-free. Absolutely.
Okay. Why are you so upset at me? I'm doing my job. You just admitted to me that you were going 55 and a 35 on Phillips Road.
To leave me alone. It's
Officer Christopher.
Christopher.
Can you stay over here, ma'am? This is a legal traffic stop. Do you have your ID?
No, it's in my purse. Here.
You have your purse right there.
No, this is my lunch. Would you talk to Dennis? This is ridiculous. Go away.
Hello, sir. Good. Ma'am, can you please stay at the back? This is legal traffic stop. Can you please stay over here?
No. Hey, baby, put your little guy out of here.
Sir, I stopped her for going 55 and a 35 on Phillips Road.
On Phillips Road.
And she failed to stop. She drove all the way back home and parked in her garage. And now she's not complying with any of my commands. Ma'am, do not go inside.
Oh my God.
Yep. All right. Ma'am, come outside. You can't just go inside. This is a traffic stop. Here's your phone back.
I understand the law better than you.
953. Can you have a supervisor come to the scene?
No. Get out of here.
I don't know why you're acting like this towards me.
Because
can you please go to the back of the vehicle?
I'm not going to. I'm home. Okay, 55.
I don't care if you got home. You were supposed to stop at Phillips Road when I pulled you over. When my lights were initiated.
I didn't know you were stopping me. There was lots of other people on the road.
I was right behind you.
Yeah? There were other people on the road too.
Okay, I was directly behind you.
I'm not dealing with you right now.
Can you please step over here?
I'm not going to.
What is the reason you're so against what I'm doing? I'm doing my job. You say you're a DA?
I am the DA.
Okay.
Okay, let me get you my badge. I am the DA of Monroe County.
I just don't understand the hostility towards me. I'm doing my job. How am I being an...
I am the DA of Monroe County.
I understand that, but that doesn't give you a right to go 55 and a 35. And you even admitted to me that you went 50. I understand that, ma'am. I understand that.
You know what? If you give me a traffic ticket, that's fine. I'm the one who prosecutes it, okay? Just go ahead and do it. Go ahead.
I just don't understand the hostility. I understand you're coming home from work.
And half the time I was on the phone with Dennis, telling him, why are you pulling me over?
You're not even supposed to be on the phone to begin with. You should know that.
Oh, I'm hands-free? Absolutely.
Okay.
You should know the law.
Okay? If it is hands-free, that's great. But at the end of the day, you're going 55 and a 35. That's 20 miles over the speed limit.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. You know what I've been dealing with all day? 3 murders in the city. And do you think I really care if I was going 20 miles over the speed limit?
I'm just doing my job. If you pulled over when you saw my lights, which obviously you did.
I thought you were going somewhere else because I thought no one would ever pull a black SUV if you ran my plates.
I didn't run your plate. I just called your plate out. And then I'm following you because you're not stopping. So I had to take the air from dispatch.
Just please.
953. You can have the air back, by the way. Just come outside over here.
No, I'm not going outside.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you just to leave.
Well, I'm having a supervisor come because that's what my chief told me to do. Do you have your driver's license?
I just showed you my driver's license.
You show me your badge.
Thanks, everyone.
Really?
When EMS, a 14-year-old doing a seizure, 200 East River Road, apartment 200.
We'll hear from the supervisor and whether or not she will show her driver's license when we return. Stay with us. We turn to our look at a New York City district attorney who was pulled over by the police because of a routine traffic stop. If you didn't see earlier, Sandra was the New York City district attorney who refused to stop a routine traffic stop. She went into her house, but what you have not seen was the full video. Now we're going to show you what happens when the supervisor goes in. What's going to happen when she speaks with the attorney? Is she going to let her go, or is she going to be arrested?
Because I was going 55 up close and I was just trying to...
She's a DA.
Yep, I know. And I was just trying to pull into my driveway. I was on the phone with Dennis Kohlmeyer saying, would you please tell the person who's following me that I'm almost home?
Ma'am, I understand you were going home, but I started my lights back at Phillips Road.
I'm on Phillips Road, yes you did, and there are other cars.
I was right behind you, directly behind you. At the end, listen, at the end of the day,
go ahead if you want to write me a packet, take it.
Okay, at the end of the day, I was stopping you for speed. If you just stop.
I've had a really bad day. I've been dealing with
And I get it. We have bad days also, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
We have bad days also. I'm gonna just add it to the job real quick. You can just go and actually add it. You don't have to use the air. At the end of the day, I was just making a traffic stop, doing my job, what I was supposed to do.
Well, fine. Thank you.
Okay? So now, supervisor's on his way, and then we'll go from there. Huh? Sergeant Johnson. I understand you had it, like, I get it. We all have bad days at work.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in the house. Seriously, this is ridiculous.
No, this is a traffic stop, and you, out of everyone, should know that if there's a legal traffic stop, which I have the right to detain you until this is done.
You can just write me the ticket. I really don't care.
Okay. Well, then just hang out at the back of the car.
Because I'm the one that's going to prosecute myself. You know what I'll do with the ticket?
Okay, just come out here for me and just stand.
I'm not walking out there. I'm not. Any baby, right? He's a good boy.
Corey, you just want to stand up here. Yeah, as long as it's added to the job. Sergeant on his way?
That's what you said 10-4.
Okay.
I was speeding at Phillips Road. He turned around. I didn't know if it was me. I wasn't sure because there were other cars going back and forth. Then I got to turn into the field press, and I'm like, I'm just going to drive home. That's what I did. So I came to the store. And I got on the phone with Dennis. I don't know. Even before when I turned in and said, you know, it's me that they're stopping. Just tell them it's me.
So I don't, that's really general rule of thumb, is if you see the lights behind you, pull over.
942.
You know what, there are other cars in full.
942.
I'm just gonna pull in.
Yeah, I mean, the T stuff.
I would advise against that. I mean, you're supposed to pull off to the side of the road if somebody with their emergency lights is coming behind you anyways. Yeah, I just.
Corey, it's fine. Just, we're having supervisors come, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, come on, just.
This is what my chief wants. That's, at the end of the day, you called him, I spoke to him on your phone, and this is what he wants.
I'm gonna call him again, seriously. It's like, it is Brian Abrams. Seriously, there's 3 officers who are ready, and I'm waiting for Stephen.
You guys can go. You guys go. I'll wait here wait for Sarge or LT. Sounds like LT is coming now.
All I did is I was going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit on Phillips. I didn't pull over, I just figured I'd drive to my driveway and stuff. You should run the plate. It's a big black SUV. It's a big black SUV. And now I've got like 5.
She was going 55 and 35 on Phillips. She didn't stop at all. She decided to drive home, called the chief, and this is where we're at. She's admitted multiple times to me. But attempted to stop her on Phillips Road, going 55 and a 35. Didn't see the plate. I was just keeping an eye on the vehicle because she wasn't stopping. Drove all the way here, pulled into her garage, got out, was just being aggressive towards me for no reason. I was being respectful. Telling her this is a legal traffic stop, come to the back of the vehicle, no. Then she called chief, and that's why I requested a supervisor. And now she wanted to go inside, told her no, you can't go inside, and this is where we're at, so.
Now you made it a bigger deal. It's a really bigger deal. It's a much bigger deal. Well, you caused that, sir. What do you want us to do? Not do our job because of you?
No, it's fine. I said, write me a ticket. But I was just saying, I was not to stop at Phillips Road at 5:30.
Well, you broke it on the rules as that. Right? You should know better than that. That's not fair. That's an arrestable offense. You know that.
No one's settling up for Sean said.
Why would you have to fill out a bigger deal than that? Maybe you know you're in the South, really. That conversation with you didn't know. No, did you Friday you went to New York City?
Yeah.
You never argued? I gave it back to her. It's attached to the job and everything, so.
I didn't want to stop at Phillips Road. I was right down the street. I figured I would just stop in my driveway. That's what I figured. I thought it would be easier.
This is a long crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked users' browsing data without file browser. You can start LC.
I'm still rolling, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's your traffic stop. I'm not gonna tell you how to handle it.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
I'll wait till LT's done talking.
17, I can start for the unknown. 717, looks like it's an open line on a cell phone of people that were yelling to one another in the tennis court area.
Yeah, he got out of the vehicle, everything, so. I mean.
That's for all of us.
explained to her. I mean, she knew exactly that she was going 55 and a 20 or a 35. She even called the chief. So it's like, I don't care just writing her the speeding ticket and being done with it, but technically it's arrestable offense if she didn't stop.
I'll be stepping out at 293 Taft Ave on this. Check for my missing person.
Police officers probably do their job. Well, I think Webster, some of them less than a year.
Yeah, I mean, I was just assuming you all knew.
They don't. So that's how we are. Yeah. No, a lot of us have, but everybody working today except for the sheriff. What's
OT also made contact over the phone, accidental call.
What's the deal? You got a ticket? What are you going to do?
I mean,
It's your stop. I'm not going to interfere with that.
yeah. I get that she came home. I mean, obviously, if I just trying to
I explained that to her.
like, she came home, she failed to stop. I mean, it's arrestable offense. I'm not trying to arrest the DA of the county, but also I don't want to not do my job and not at least write her something. So
No, I get it. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to.
I'll at least rate her the freaking going 55 and a 20.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I got discretion whether or not.
No, I get it. I understand.
So.
Hello.
I'm only just gonna start the one ticket. Alright, man. So, I'm issuing you speed in zone, 55 and a 35.
That's fine. I'll take care of it since I'll be prosecuting myself.
Okay. At the end of the day, if you see my lights and sirens behind you, and obviously they're going off, just pull over, we can have a conversation, and be on our way. I kept my eye on your vehicle. I'm not going to check my computer to see what plate it is if a vehicle is not stopping for me. I want to keep my eyes on that vehicle for my safety, so I might get home at the end of the day. Okay?
I apologize, but...
I'm sorry that you had a bad day,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry it went this way, but I do respect what you do. Have a good day, man.
But I would say, here's the answer to call Dennis on this. You know the
Your radio is completely unreadable.
Directly across from what?
The stop sign of Phillips Road. Portable camera.
Okay, I'm gonna put the job in on the over location.
Yeah.
Police is trying to say she's in the Peter Webster Park.
All right, thanks.
All right, well, she's sorry.
Thank you.
He's just happy he's got company.
Just listen to the police. Do what you're damn well told. Don't go into a situation where you get the police chief involved and say, "Hey, I'm an attorney here. I got an advocate." Just listen. Yes, officer. Just do what you're damn well told. And in this case right here, she may say, well, I'm going to prosecute myself. But you're a self-prosecutor. I prosecute myself to go to jail. I will not prosecute my conscience up here. My conscience cannot go to jail because my conscience is part of my brain. And if my brain's part of me, then my whole body will go to fucking jail. Okay. But at the end of the day, the bottom line here is this. Listen to an officer and do what you're damn well told. Period. There ain't no if, and, but, or excuse about it. Just because your statement says you're sorry, you had a bad day, listen. We've all had bad days. Like my bad day at work to happen. There was smoke. I couldn't breathe in that smoke. I tried my best not to breathe it in. I'm not going to get into much detail here. Everybody has to understand, we've all had bad days. And we gotta understand that if we got a bad day, we can't take it out on somebody. We gotta get through it. And if we get through it, and maybe then we'll know. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, would you like to know the weird school rules from around the world? Take a look.
3 of the weirdest school rules from around the globe. At number 3, teachers in the UK have banned having a best friend.
Well, that's it. We're not friends no more.
Bro, it's not me. It's
Save it.
Teachers started enforcing this rule to encourage kids to socialize in inclusive groups instead of singling kids out, and also protect them from the heartbreak of losing a friend. Number 2, the French banned ketchup. They banned the condiment ketchup from school cafeterias in order to preserve French cuisine. Huh? Weirdly, the only time you're allowed to use it is when you're eating French fries.
Looking to score some, how do you say, ketchup?
Yo, chill, that's contraband. And at number 1, in North Korea, schools make students choose between one of 28 approved haircuts. Haha, hold still. Wait, can I see the list? Oh yeah, that one's good. Ooh, I like that one. 28 is a lot of haircuts, actually. I hate to see the hairstyles that didn't make the cut.
Alright, you're under arrest.
Who are you, the joke police?
Yes.
Here are 3 of the weirdest...
The joke police. Wow. Coming up on Wednesday, Monica Lewinsky, like you never heard of her before. It was just It was just 20-something years ago that Monica Lewinsky spoke out in her first national television interview since her affair with the President of the United States, former President Bill Clinton. You'll hear what happened with the blue dress and what Linda Tripp said after you hear Linda Tripp. So, Monica Lewinsky, in her own words, that's on Wednesday. That's Give Me a Break for this Monday going to Tuesday. We're going to see you again for Give Me a Break Wednesday. For all of us here at YouTube, and Give Me a Break. Stop bullying, speak up, concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. Have a good night.